live on Animal House Radio via American Forces Network. And tonight we have a very extra special guest in the house. This gentleman has an amazing story, and he's here to tell us all about this brand new book that he's got. Um, I myself have read some of it, and I can't wait to read the rest of it. I'm trying to get some time together to do so. But I want everyone to please give a warm welcome this evening for actor and author Richie Stevens. Richie, thank you so much for being with us tonight.
Hey, Carlo, thanks very much for inviting me on your show.
So, I mean, it's there's so many different places to start. It's an amazing story. It's like something that it's actually reminds me of it, something you would read in a script. you know.
yeah, yeah. There's
Um,
not too many actors in Hollywood with my backstory.
yeah, and just to let you know, being in Jersey, I I could relate, having a dad who was, an organized crime figure. So I kind of, that kind of touched me a little bit. He died in 1990, but you
Oh,
know,
sorry
uh,
to that.
I could definitely relate. So the name of the book out is called, oh, I just had it right here, The Gangster's Guide to Sobriety: My Life in 12 Steps. There you
That's
go.
it.
And just to show everybody real quick, this is what it looks like. Okay, and it's available on Amazon. I'll put the link up in a little while. So, Richie, you grew up in Ireland, and did you have that lifestyle where you just were gotten in trouble? How did this all come about? Give me the whole backstory here.
Well, I have no family background and that kind of stuff. My family are all fairly straight laced people. I don't have any dads in the mob or anything like that. But I'm like the black sheep of my family. You know, when I was a kid, I was pretty quiet. And, when I started drinking, that's when I started misbehaving. It's like, you know how some fellas, they can go out and have a few drinks and nothing happens, and then there's other guys who just do crazy stuff.
Yeah.
Like I was one of those crazy guys, and my life my life just went in some bizarre directions as a result of the drinking when I was young, and then later on when I got into the drugs. Like I was a quiet kid, and once I started drinking, it was like changed me into something different.
Wow.
I yeah, I was so shy before that, and then when I started drinking, I was just pure wild. I could talk to girls, and I could fight, and just all kinds of misbehaving. And
A
when I
regular
was
rabble rouser you were, huh?
a little bit of a rabble rouser when I was young, yeah, but that didn't come naturally to me. I was just one of those people who just turned wild when I started
Yeah.
drinking.
I
You
mean,
know,
when you look at the list of the stuff you've done, and I don't want to go into an extensive list, just because I don't want to. Not that I don't want to focus on it, but I don't want to glorify it for our younger audience because we're not here to glorify your past. We're trying to show you that the positivity of how that even though you went down that path, you were able to survive. That's the key that I want to make sure that we get out. So okay, so you're a kid, you're getting into trouble, you're drinking, you become a whole different personality. So how long did this lifestyle last?
well, when I started drinking, I was about 14 or 15, and then when I got sober, I was about 28. So it lasted a good 14 years, you know. But
Oh, wow.
yeah, that's not the purpose of the book at all. I'm not trying to talk about my past to glorify it. I'm actually not very proud of a lot of the crazy stuff that I've done.
Right.
It's just yeah, I kept it quiet for a long time because I don't behave like that anymore. But it's a story about somebody who changed the way they were living, and that's the purpose of it. If somebody else is living that kind of lifestyle, or if they have a problem with booze or drinking, or or drugs. I'm just the purpose of it is to just show that you can turn your life around. You don't have to keep on living like that.
Exactly. Let me ask you, Richie. What at what point did you like? I know because I grew up in Newark, New Jersey, and I had a lot of those guys around me who went down a bad path. Um, and you never think it's a problem. I can handle this. I can handle. You know what I'm saying? I don't have a problem. Whatever. There's nothing wrong. At what point in your life was there like a certain turning point where like you just said or you didn't see that it was a problem, you didn't see that I could always get my way out of it?
Well, when I was young, I kind of felt like at some point in the future, I'll get my crap together. Like I'll stop misbehaving. I'll be good. I'll be a good dad. I'll be a productive member of society. That's I always thought like maybe when I'm 20, maybe when I'm 30. Like I always figured I'd stop at some point in the future. But when you're involved in that kind of craziness, you keep on moving the goalposts, and that's what happened to me. And I had multiple suicide attempts down through the years, and
Oh
and
boy.
even those didn't stop me. And at the very end, I had one final one, and what really saved me was a dude that I was friends with. He started taking me to meetings, like 12-step meetings, and that's really how I saved my life, because this guy helped me out, and I wouldn't be alive only for him today. I'd probably be dead or in jail.
Oh, yeah. Well, thank God that we have people like that in the world. And you know what, Richie, it's you don't see many people like that anymore that are willing to step up. Everybody, and I get it. Everybody's involved with their own stuff, and they're taking care of number one, and I get it. But I guess it just got to a point where you reached a critical point in your life and say, I got to do something. You don't usually, and I like what you said. You kept moving the goalpost. You don't usually hear that. I'm gonna get my shit together eventually. Sometimes when people are in the midst of that, they don't even think about that. They're like, yeah, they're living for the moment. But I like so that shows that you weren't, you know what I'm saying, that you had the ability to get out. And one of the quotes from the book was interesting, and I wanted you to explain a little bit. You said help comes in different forms.
Yeah, I got a lot of these kind of warning signals down through the years, like in terms of that I might have a problem or something might be wrong. I've ended up in the hospital, like beaten up really badly, and I've been arrested a lot of times, and almost died a bunch of times. And there was all these signals, but each time something would happen to me, it would be like as if the next day I would be like, oh my God, never drinking again, never doing coke again, or whatever it is. And then as soon as I would start to feel better, like a week or two later, I would think I'm changing my mind. I didn't really mean that. Or the wife might be mad with me, and I promise her, oh, I'm never going to do this kind of stuff again. And I would really mean it at the time. And then once I start to feel better, it's a sneaky thing, because if you know anybody who struggles with drinking or drugs, it's a sneaky thing because it makes you think you don't have the problem sometimes. And for a lot of years, I kind of thought that I was choosing to do what I was doing.
Right.
My mind would change automatically, and I couldn't explain that. I'd have all kinds of regret, or create all kinds of problems in my life, and then all of a sudden, when I start to feel better, my head would say, "You can do it again, or maybe it'll be different the next time."
Right, right. You figure I could do this and still come out on. Yeah, I get it. And being from the Northeast myself, and you see a lot of people, like I said, in these struggles, and I don't think, and I'm so glad it worked out for you. I don't see people putting a lot of faith in the rehabs and stuff anymore because and I say to them all the time. I said, listen, if if you think you need rehab, that's great, go, but a lot of people, they go, but they're not ready. They gotta wanna do it, you know what I'm saying?
Mhm.
And the problem I have is that they go to rehab and then they come back to the same environment that they got in trouble in, so, you know what I'm saying? It's like you're setting them up to fail.
Well, to be honest with you, I never got to a rehab. I used to always be envious of the people who did go to a rehab. I
Oh,
used to
okay.
see it on TV, stuff like that. You remember that show that used to be on Dr. Drew's Celebrity
Oh,
Rehab?
yeah, celebrity re
I, I used to watch that before I got sober, and I'd be looking at these people and I'm thinking these clowns can't handle their shit, you know. But whereas I was the exact same as them, and then after I got sober, I just ended up going to the meetings and going every day. That's how I got sober. Nobody ever brought me to a rehab. Like I was, don't get me wrong, I was well fit to be in a rehab. I was like
Right,
a
right,
lunatic,
yeah.
but nobody ever brought me. So I used to always be envious of the people who got to go to rehabs because it looked cool,
Right,
hanging out
right,
by the
right.
pool, smoking cigarettes, doing yoga, all that kind of crap.
Yeah, right? How bad could it be, right? But so
Yeah.
you say you went to meetings, you had a friend that, that obviously saved
Mhm.
your life. He took you to the meetings. Were you like resistant at first? You said, you know what? Okay, I'm ready to do this.
Well, the way it was with me at that point, I was 28, and I realized I realized I had a problem with the sauce and the drugs, like, and but I thought I might be crazy. I thought, oh, maybe I'm depressed, or maybe I have some kind of bipolar or manic depression or something like that. Because I didn't know what it means to be an addict or an alcoholic. I just thought it was someone who drinks too much. But I used to be always feeling down and quick to anger, all that kind of stuff. So I thought there was something else wrong with me. I thought
Oh,
maybe
wow.
there's something
Yeah.
wrong with my head, like, and but I thought maybe if I go to the meetings, maybe I'll stop wanting to kill myself. You know,
Right.
and then because I was out of ideas. Like, if you, if you want to end your life is pretty unmanageable.
Right, right, right.
So I was willing to give it a shot, and because I knew I didn't know how to run my own life, so that's why I trusted this other dude, and he showed me what to do and how to get over it. Like,
Did the meetings help, or it took a while for you to and then, like, besides the meetings, obviously, what other steps did you take to, enhance your newfound sobriety?
well, the meetings is just one part of it. So if you I don't say which ones I go to, but they're all the same, right? Whatever
Right.
whatever your problem is, whether it's coke or booze, or there's a meeting
Gambling.
for
Yeah.
everything. Yeah,
Yeah,
exactly.
yeah.
So basically, you go there, you get a sponsor, and you do what you work what's called the 12 steps, and that's how the cravings go away. I was like, every time something annoyed me, or I was bored, or I was happy, or I was sad, I'd always want to just get high or drink. Like, I just couldn't behave normally like a normal person.
That's how you coped with everything, right?
Exactly. Yeah, and so when you go to the meetings, you got to learn how to live life without the medicine, because that's what it was for me. It was a medicine,
Yeah.
and for me as well. The road I went down, getting involved in crime and all kinds of misbehaving, I obviously had to stop doing that as soon as I got sober, because uh, you're not really able to be dealing drugs and trying to stay off them at the same time too. That wouldn't work, you
Right,
know.
right. So now you're 28 years old, you're sober, you're beginning a journey, which is a journey in itself. And like I commend you on that. And I know all our men and women, our servicemen and women overseas, are gotta look at you as a sort of hero because you know why? You know, you could say what you want, but you took the steps and you did something about it. So you deserve to be commended about it.
Well,
Um,
well,
so
thanks, Carlo, but I didn't do that on my own. I didn't invent this shit.
no, I know, but you know
It,
what?
it,
Some people don't last, you know what I'm saying? They say, "I
yeah,
can't do this." You made it through,
I
which
was
is
very, very fortunate that I had some people who were willing to spend some time and sit down with me, and they basically saved my life. I showed up, but I had a lot of help, and I was really lucky,
right.
just
Yeah.
because
Yeah.
there was some great fellas there in San Francisco where I got sober, and they really helped me.
So now let's take the next step of the journey. You're sober now. You're on a good path. So how did the whole Hollywood thing come into play? Because I guess at 28, you're like, well, all right, what am I gonna do for the rest of my life?
Well, that definitely wasn't a straight line either, because most people who become an actor, they start that shit when they're about 18 years of age. They go to like theater school or something like that, and then they start when they're young. So I had no intention of being an actor. I was, I was a drug dealer before I got sober, but I was also a carpenter. I was framing houses, and
Oh, okay. So you got some
yeah,
skills.
yeah. Even though I was a disaster, I was a good
Right.
enough carpenter. So my plan when I got sober was to start a company and just build houses in San Francisco, just honest work. That was my
Right.
plan, and I did that for like about a year and a half, and then I was doing a remodel on a house in San Francisco, and a beam fell down and hit me, knocked me off the scaffold, and
Ooh.
broke one of my discs and herniated the other one. So
Ooh.
permanently damaged my back. And I found out that I would never be able to do that kind of physical work again.
Yeah.
So I was like, that was a real downer. I could have went back on the booze that time, and I lost all my money, lost my livelihood, and I had to like try and figure something else out to make money that was honest. I wasn't going to go back
Right.
to what I had been doing, even though I had offers to do that. So
Carpenter's a respectable trade, but you just got to avoid the liquid lunches.
yeah, exactly, and try not to get hurt either. But
Right.
yeah, so this girl that I knew told me I should try modeling. At that point, I was 30 years of age. I didn't think I was modeling material. I have a fake tooth in the front. I have bite marks on my nose. I
But
don't
but
act
you're
like
real. They like that that's authentic look, you know?
apparently so. But anyway, I was willing to take the suggestion, and I started doing a little bit of modeling. I sent off my pictures to some agencies, and I signed with like a little agency. And I'm doing a little bit of modeling. And then a fella saw me on a modeling website, and he asked me to be in his film. He was doing a gangster film. It was like a low budget thing. The guy's name was Weston. But he told me, he says, "Don't take this the wrong way, but you have a gangster look about you." And
Right.
I didn't tell him that I really used to be one,
Right, right.
but I didn't want to scare him. but I
Uh,
took the job and I really enjoyed it. And I said, I like this. Maybe I'll try and be an actor now. And then I went to different acting schools and learned the craft and started off doing low budget stuff and moved to LA, and the jobs got bigger, and I've been very
wow.
lucky to be on a bunch of different good shows. So, but
Somebody's
the,
definitely got a halo over you because everything you've done has been like extremely uphill, and it seems like you just were able to, you know.
I think there was somebody praying for me for sure, because I should be dead a lot of times, and uh, but it was funny. It was so weird because when I started these acting classes, they told me, "You look like a bad guy. You'll always play the villain." So I didn't obviously tell them that I used to be one, but
Right, right.
that's what they hire me for. I'm usually bad guy on Criminal Minds or Blue Bloods or those are the kind of shows I've been on.
Yeah, yeah. I seen that. I mean, the list of stuff you've done, and then it says here, from your bio, you've done over 100 stage and screen productions.
Yeah, a bunch of
Wow.
small ones too. Yeah.
Hey, you
Yeah.
know, work is work. But you know what? I've been a comic since 1987. That was my first love, and then I got into acting, and I noticed that, and like I guess as an actor, you're just happy to be working, right? Earning a paycheck and plying your trade in the craft that you chose. Um, but I too find myself only getting those roles as like, you know, this thug or whatever, and I'd like to be more variety. Are you just happy to be working, or you'd like to broaden your, you know,
Well,
base?
one good thing about the roles I get, even though I play bad guy a lot, I do a bunch of different accents, so I get to be different nationalities. I play Russians or Germans or Brits. Don't play Irish a whole lot, so I do get a bit of variety. But yeah, I wouldn't mind being the good guy for once or something
Yeah, yeah.
different.
I mean, you definitely have the look for it. Yeah,
I don't know about that, but I'm of course I'm just grateful to get whatever I can. But I enjoy charactery stuff.
yeah. So what the, you know, you've done a lot of TV, and so what? You have a favorite show that you did that was something that was kind of extra special for you to be on the set, or?
I really enjoyed being on Blue Bloods.
Oh yeah,
Because
yeah.
yeah, because Blue Bloods is one of my favorites because I had never worked in New York before, and they flew me out there to do that, and I got to work with some guys I grew up watching, and that was fun. I got a kick out of that. Like when I was a young lad back home, I used to watch The Sopranos. Me and the other boys I used to hang out with, we used to watch The Sopranos, and I got to work with Stephen Sherpa on or
Oh,
Stephen Sherpa.
he's a
Yeah,
great guy, Steve.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. He's a really nice fellow, but he got to arrest me in the show, so we got a kick out of that. And plus, Robert Closey, I got to work with him too, and I grew up watching him when I was a kid. When I was
Yeah, I
when I
remember
was a
him from Oz.
yeah, I grew up watching him on Oz. When I was a little kid, I used to make fake IDs. That was my first criminal enterprise when I was about 15 or 16. And when my folks went to bed, I'd come downstairs down to the living room, and I'd start making these fake IDs and I'd watch Oz while I was making them. You
Oh
have to
my
like,
god.
I'd print out my shit, and then I'd use an iron to laminate them. These were Irish IDs, and I used to watch Robert Closey. He was one of the guards on Oz, and then whatever it was, 20 years later, I'm over in New York and I'm beating them up on camera. It was such a trip.
Oh
Yeah,
man.
and I told them about that too while we were working. I was like, when I was a little kid, I used to watch you on TV, and I used to make fake IDs while I was watching Oz, and here we are.
Oh my god. That's got to be so surreal to see, you know, to be like a fan of them on TV, and then you actually work with them.
Yeah, it's pretty bizarre, yeah, especially when it's stuff like that for some of your favorite shows. And yeah, I really enjoyed working on major crimes as well because you know, Tony Dennison was a friend of mine too. I knew Tony, but it was cool to work with Tony, and then Raymond Cruz. You know, everybody likes him from
Oh, I
Breaking
love
Bad. He
Tony
played, yeah.
Dennison. I remember watching him years ago on a TV show called Crime Story.
Hmm.
And he
Yeah,
played he
Tony's a
played
great
this
guy.
character, Ray Luca, was so great, so great.
Yeah,
And you also did soap operas. That's got to be a big challenge every day, different
yeah,
script and
yeah, I did that last year. That was my first Italian American role. I don't know how they gave me that one because
yeah.
I know I was a mob guy on that called Carmine. But yeah, I had a nice run on. We did a bunch of episodes, and yeah, it was a lot of fun.
Do you do an Italian accent?
Yeah.
Let me hear. I'm going to let you know if it's authentic because I'm Sicilian, so I'll give you the honest truth.
Okay. Yo, I'm doing a podcast right now with Carlo. It's called Animal House.
I like that.
Is that all
Wow,
right?
that's got two thumbs up for that one. Yeah.
Oh, nice one. You guys who are listening are probably like, "That's shit. He fucking sucks."
Oh boy. So now, Richie, at what point did you say, I gotta put this on paper? Like, is it was it just you wanted to? I mean, the story needs to be told. It's very inspirational.
Well, you know the way it is, right? My book isn't trying to preach to anybody or tell them how to live. If I was doing that, it would be a total hypocrite. Like if you read my story or if you hear some of the stuff, there's no way I could preach to anybody. It's just a record of what happened to me, because it's so crazy. And part of the deal when you're at the meetings for a while and you're sober, people ask you to come and tell your story, and I get asked a lot because there's not a whole lot of Irish fellas around here, and there's not a whole lot of fellas who have my backstory. So I do end up sharing for people, and a lot of times people have said to me, "You should write a book." So eventually, I got round to it, and then I partnered with John and Dave. They're the guys who did Silicon Valley. They're my partners, and the original book was really long, and we rewrote it together. So it's a lot more digestible. And John came up with the idea of doing it based on the 12 steps. So there's 12 chapters. It's not a long book. It's under 200 pages, and each one is kind of a reference to how I got sober, and then some wild stories from my past as well.
Oh wow, that's amazing. And
So
it's
that's the
available on
format we came
Amazon,
up with.
right?
You can get it on Amazon or Simon and Schuster, Barnes and Noble, or Walmart, all those kind of places. And then if you don't really like reading, I'm on Audible too. I do the voice on
Yeah, I
Audible,
think
so
that's the
you
big
can
trend
listen
now.
to it.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Hmm.
yeah. So yeah, there's a lot of different ways of getting it right now.
Listen, I've only read a few excerpts of the book, and I was already hooked. Like I said, I'm just trying to cut out the time to actually delve into it. And it's called "The Gangster's Guide to Sobriety: My Life in 12 Steps" with Richie Stevens, who was as an actor and an author, and he turned his life around in such an amazing way. And I wish that we had more people with success stories like that. So now, Richie, let me ask you, for somebody who picks up the book and they go and buy
Hmm.
it, and
Hmm.
whether they're just a fan of reading or they're an actual addict and they're trying to get salvation from that book, what do you want them to take away from that book when they read it?
Well, it's a story about redemption. It's not just for people who have a problem or people who are related to somebody who has a problem. If you just enjoy a good story about redemption, about somebody turning their life around, you would enjoy it. Or if you have a dark sense of humor, you definitely enjoy it. I'd say it's not for kids. There's a lot of cursing and explicit stuff in it, but so I
Right.
wouldn't recommend it for young kids or anything like that. But if you have a dark sense of humor, I think you'd love it. You know.
Oh, absolutely. Like I said, I'm actually gonna probably read some tonight before I go to sleep. Now, acting is going well. Obviously, you got any projects that you're working on now that you?
Well, this project, the book, we're going to develop it into a TV show. So that's the big thing we're working on right now, talking to
Oh,
different
wow, that's
producers about
amazing.
that. And yeah, I can't really say who we're talking to, but we have a lot of interest in it at the moment. So it'll be interesting to see where it lands.
Oh, wow. Well, I wish you good luck with that. Do you plan on doing any motivational speaking and going around and?
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know if people want to hear me or not.
Forget about it.
Uh, yeah, maybe I might. Well, we'll see what happens.
No,
I like
well, I'm just
acting.
saying. I think a lot of people would benefit from that. As especially COVID aside, there's still a lot of people who struggle every day, and to see your story, I think it would make them know that anything is possible, and they can get help if they really want it.
Yeah, I'm definitely open to that. A lot of people have been reaching out to me since the book came out. It's been fairly overwhelming, but it's been positive, you know.
Yeah, yeah. How long did it take you to culminate those? I mean, you obviously know the stories because you've lived them, but how long did it take you to formulate everything and actually get it down on paper?
So I'll tell you what, Carlo. At the very start, my original draft, it was like way longer than this. It was 430 pages. I got
Wow,
that
that's like War and
out.
Peace.
Yeah, I got that out in about 2 months, but it was so long that somebody wouldn't sit through all of that. But there's a lot of craziness in it. But yeah, so my original one I got it done in 2 months, and then when I met John and Dave, we gave it to a book agent, and she read it and she said, "Wow, this is like such a crazy story. Is it real?"
Yeah,
Like because
yeah,
because she was like, "This is so bizarre. It couldn't be real, but then it's so detailed it might be." And
right.
I said, "Yeah, it's real." She says it's great, but I don't know how to sell it. And then John came up with the idea of rewriting it based on the 12 chapters, so it's 12 steps, so it's easily digestible. So then it took us about a year to rewrite it between me and John and Dave and the editor with the publisher. And yeah, it took us about a year to rewrite it. Yeah.
Oh wow! I tell you, it's funny the way you say when people read it, like it reads like fiction, but it's the truth,
Yeah, well, we had to change some of the well, we had to change most of the names in it for
to protect
obvious
the guilty.
reasons. Well, yeah, I don't want to be looking over my shoulder, so I had
Don't
to
worry about it. You
people.
can come to New Jersey. I'll take care of you. Don't worry about it. Yeah.
Yeah,
But
no, yeah. So we had to change a lot of the names for the lawyers, but yeah, that's obvious too.
well, that's simply amazing. And once again, I want to thank Grace Topalian and Mike Leota for always giving us this most interesting guests. And if you're not a fan of Richie Stevens, I don't know what you're waiting for. Definitely check it out. The Gangster's Guide to Sobriety, My Life in 12 Steps. Whether you have an addiction problem, if you enjoy a good story that'll captivate you, I definitely recommend you picking it up and show your love and support. And we want to keep you in our support, and always know that you have an open door with us anytime you want to come on. And as someone who um, does a show, and I get to entertain our troops. I just wanted to read. Usually, my co-host is Lieutenant General Jerry Martinez. He couldn't be here with me today, and he was a retired three-star general from the Air Force. This man was the commander for U.S. forces in Japan. He's got more medals than that you could ever think of, and over 35 plus years of service to our country. And I just want you to know, Richie, and I tell this to all our guests that come on, whether they're musicians, actors, authors, on behalf of our men and women, and I'm specifically speaking to the ones that are in forward areas that don't have access to a TV or a radio on a regular basis. Sometimes these men and women, they're putting in 18 hours a day, and then when they do have that 1 hour, 2 hours of downtime, and they get to watch TV, they get to see you on NCIS or Blue Bloods. I want to thank you on their behalf for providing the entertainment value, and even if for an hour, if we can make them forget where they are and that the bottom can drop out on them in any minute. Thank you for the entertainment value you provide, especially what for the work you did on screen, and now for the work you're doing, your literary work, which I hope is, if it's not a bestseller, something's wrong.
Thanks, Carlo, and thank those guys who do that kind of stuff for their service too.
Yeah. Richie, before we let you go, I'm going to ask you a small favor.
Hmm.
Would you do an ID for us?
I managed to stay out of trouble this long, but I don't want to get in trouble now.
No, no, not that kind of a station ID with your
Oh, I
voice. Oh
thought you
yeah, yeah,
meant like
yeah.
a fake ID. No, I
Oh,
only do any
you're
fake
looking to get
IDs,
me
but
pinched over here. I feel like I'm in
no.
Goodfellas.
Yeah, but yeah, I'll
No,
put you.
basically, what you're gonna do is introduce yourself and say, "Hey, this is Richie Stevens, and you're listening to Animal House Radio." You can use any accent you want. So when you're ready, you just go.
Hey, this is Richie Stevens, and you're listening to Animal House Radio.
Look at that. See that one take. I need. Could you do it one more time, a little louder though?
Okay. Hey, this is Richie Stevens, and you're listening to Animal House Radio.
Look at that. Perfect. Richie, continued success. Um, I hope you stay on there. I may the road rise up to meet you, Richie. You know what I'm saying? And continued success. I hope to maybe shake your hand one day and maybe we'll have some spaghetti and meatballs. You never know.
You too, buddy. Thanks. Thanks,
All right,
Carl.
thank you, Richie Stevens. Everybody, please check out the book on Amazon, Audible, Barnes and Noble, wherever you buy your books or listen to your stuff. Check out the Gangster's Guide to Sobriety: My Life in 12 Steps by Richie Stevens. Richie, thank you so much, and God bless.
Thanks, Carl. You too.